Hi, it's Clark on Temptress. Today I'm going to talk about how to take power off the yacht, have electricity wherever you need it. Most people today out cruising have a good power system on their boat. Batteries are getting fantastic, solar panels are getting cheap, electronics to control them are good, they all work real well. Usually you've got the power you need, or you make your needs fit the power you've got, but you got a solution on the yacht. Occasionally though, you need to get off the boat and still need some electricity. Well, historically this has been the solution. A generator, portable generator, that's the back of it. Okay, here's ours. Well, it's an internal combustion engine, spins around, spins a generator, makes power. This one's rated for 1,000 watts, which means it really can only put about 800 out on a continuous basis. This works good for us because it can run a 50 watt or 50 amp battery charger, so that's why I bought this, and it's kind of manageable, 25 pounds. What isn't good about it? Well, it's loud. Can't use it indoors because of the loud, but it'll also kill you because it puts out, exhaust. In this world, with the moisture in the environment and the bad gas we get nowadays with all the alcohol in it, this thing never wants to start. I had to clean the carburetor, I only use it once every few months maybe, and every time I expect to have to clean it all out and get it working again. So it's more of a mechanic project than it is an energy generation thing. This was all there was, but things are changing. Now we got these new lithium iron phosphate batteries, and they're really great. There's also lithium ion, and they'll hold more power, but you don't want them on a boat in big quantities. Maybe to run an electric drill, biggest one you'd want. Because when they go bad, they can get into this thermal meltdown, and a big battery like that, your boat's gonna be burnt to the, to the water line. So, some time ago I built this. This is a Harbor Freight ripoff of a Pelican box, and inside it I've got some lithium iron phosphate batteries and a BMS and an active balancer and a little spot here that right now it's got a little bitty inverter in it. I gave it a switch so that these poles are dead right now, so it's perfectly safe and waterproof. Very nice boat gear. And originally I built this up so that Emily could hook this to a Minn Kota type electric motor and use it on her little dinghy to move around. This thing has tremendous range. We haven't run it dead yet. We've gone literally miles and it just goes. It's been really a cool little device. And we have that inverter, and I have a little larger inverter that I use for more serious things that we take with us, and we have portable power. Well, that's a way to go. Here's another way to go. The one I built here, that's about 650-ish watt hours. This company called Bluetti asked if they could send one of these, and it's like, sure, this is like a neat piece of kit. I'd like to play with it. Well, I gotta say, I really like it. Now, this is, I think it's 520 watt hours. It's similar in size, but this little guy has a lot of stuff already in it. It's got the lithium iron phosphate batteries. Lots of these around by different companies. Not too many of them are using the lithium iron phosphate batteries. I think that's vital from a safety point of view on a boat, but also they have a much longer life than the lithium ion. Think of your cell phone and how long that battery lasts before you have to replace it. Okay, this little guy has a regulated power supply to put out 10 amps of 12 volt. Which can be handy for lots of stuff. It's got an inverter in it, and I've been playing with this. It's actually a pretty powerful little inverter. It's rated at 700 watts, and it seems to really put out 700 watts. It's got every USB thing you could ever imagine, including the very high power C that could charge your computer fast, run your computer right off it. And then it's got a couple input jacks. You can feed this off its little 110 transformer thing to charge it up, or you can put virtually any DC in it. Let's see, between 12 and 28 volts. and it has an MPPT regulator in it, so it will step the voltage appropriate and charge its batteries. Boils down to you hook this right to some solar panels if you wanted to, go off camping and carry a panel for whatever reason. But you could hook it right to your ship's batteries and have it charge up off ship's batteries. So let's talk about charging. I'll bring the other one up and talk about how it charges. I'd like to put all this on the table, but this table's for eating. It's not very strong, so one has to be on my lap. These aren't terribly heavy, I don't know, 15 pounds or so. It's just that it's not what we designed the table for. Okay, this guy to charge, it's a little trickier. Can't just throw power at it because it doesn't have a charge controller built in. You could use any kind of charge controller that can charge lithium iron phosphate. I'm building one right now that has a clever trick, and it's kind of what this is based on. This, in amp hours, this is 50 amp hours of lithium iron phosphate. That's a big chunk, A lot of the outboard motor, electric outboard motors that are out there that are using the modern lithium iron phosphate, their batteries are kind of built into them, and you charge them off the ship system. That's great, but they're really a parasite. They just pull power, and that's all they can do. This guy, and this isn't as simple as just hooking it up. You've got to have some current control and stuff. I'll go another video about that if people are interested. But this can charge up off ship's power, and once it's charged up, it can go into a mode where this becomes part of the ship's battery. So we have 200 amp hours of lithium, and when this is plugged in, which honestly is most of the time, very seldom do we need portable power, we have 250 amp hours of lithium. So that's a way to do that. Good and bad of these two things. This is a pain in the butt to build. You got to do it. It's just not as convenient as just, writing a check and buying something. Honestly, this cost about as much as this. In fact, I think this might cost more because, I don't know why, because that's how they make them. But my batteries cost me a lot of money, where maybe they're cheaper now. I don't know. Look into that. Your mileage may vary. This has discrete components, and if something goes wrong with the inverter section, you just throw away the inverter, grab another one. This one's all built together, so, something goes wrong, it's gone wrong. This one has one advantage I can think of over this one, besides that being part of the ship's bank, which is a big thing in my book. It can put out all the 12 volt you could ever really ask for. I think this thing limits at the BMS limits it at like 60 amps. But the batteries themselves, they can put out a lot of power. So we can hook this up to an outboard motor, little electric motor, and drive it with no problems whatsoever. And if we need some real 12 volt power, it's available. This guy, on the other hand, can only put out 10 amps, which wouldn't run the 12 volt motor and move you along. But if you don't need to do that, it's got a lot going for it. I'm gonna go out and do a little mission. Now, for that mission, I'm going to be running an angle grinder, and they use a lot of power. So I'm going to step up to this little inverter. It's rated 700 watts, same as this is rated. And we're going to take our dinghy out to the beach. It's time to put bottom paint on it. So we want it all really clean. So I'm going to put a wire brush on an angle grinder and not lean into it too hard so I can control the power it uses and really clean the dinghy. So the first step, we get in our dinghy and use this battery to get us there, and then hopefully we'll do a little with both out there. Got the dinghy on the beach. We scraped it yesterday. As you can see, it's not the disaster it was in that last video, but it was yesterday. Anyway, got ourselves all set up. We're going to use the angle grinder. I don't know if I'll use the flat disc or the wire brush yet, but we're going to remove all of these hard growth barnacles so we have a nice surface to paint. This is one of the many times when you need to take power off the boat. And until this gear, I'd have had to bring a generator, and they're a pain in the butt. They're loud, they're smelly, you gotta get gas in them. These things are easy. You plug in, you got power until the battery goes dead and you charge it up again. Now, on the DIY version, I have to use an aftermarket inverter, of course. And I did some testing before I started filming. Well, it worked. Wasn't the inverter this guy has, I gotta say. This inverter kind of sucks. But before I got too much done at all, just trying it out, I blew the fuses in this. So this guy's not going to be able to be in the party today. It does run an inverter, and the battery has plenty of power to run the inverter. It's just the inverter itself. I just got it, and I guess I don't like it. So we're going to be relying on this guy today. But of course, to give this its credit, it's what got us here. It ran the motor to get us out here with a bad bottom yesterday, got us back to the yacht, got us back out today with a clean bottom, and it's still going strong power-wise. Got a lot of juice in it. Just no way to get it into the tools. So let's take a look at what the Bluetti will do with a pretty heavy-duty piece of gear amp-wise. Well, as you can see, that didn't go so terribly well. This inverter just isn't as good as this inverter. And I blew a fuse. Fixed the fuse, the inverter's working again. I guess I just pushed it too hard. I don't think that's a point against this battery system. It's just a point against this inverter, or mostly it's a point against using an angle grinder. When I leaned too hard on the angle grinder, I popped this one's internal protection as well, but this guy just cooled down and recovered and was fine, where this guy is just fuse based, and well, I guess you get what you pay for. This was a real cheap inverter. What would I recommend? Well, it comes down to what you want, you know, if you're the DIY guy, or, you know, on an electric outboard, or as a backup having an electric outboard, because they're not very big and you can stow them away. This is the way. But if not, man, this thing's a sweet piece of gear. I didn't expect to really like it. In fact, I figured they'd send it to me. I would do a video because, you know, kind of have to if they send it to you. And then I'd sell it to somebody because it's like, you know, over 500 bucks. I don't think I'm going to sell it. Not for a while anyway. It's just so handy. It's so light. It's so easy to move around. And I don't know, maybe it's just because it's a new toy. I like it. So one would be the right answer for anyone out there. You just got to decide what category you're in. Oh, and this one has a light on the back, which is kind of neat. Can't see it out in the day, but that could be handy. So if you want an easy solution that, oh, like if you're in Florida and you're worried about hurricane prep, which should be, they make bigger ones than this, but even this one, I forget how long, but it runs your big refrigerator for, you know, many, many, many hours. And I've been there when the power goes out. You need a way, you know, you need to keep that food good. Having something like this probably would only get you through a day or two, the bigger ones. The generator, of course, is unlimited, but the generator is such a pain in the butt. I would think seriously about having one of these. Great for camping, you know, anytime you need portable power, and you can use it indoors. Well, I hope this has proved useful to you. If you want one of these things, there's a link down below. You'll get a few bucks off on the coupon, and we'll get a few bucks too, so that's always nice for us. I hope this works out, or something like this works out, and I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, there's comments below. If you have one, comment on it. If you've had one that's working, tell us about it. If you have one of these that's not working, please tell us about it. Let's not have people buying these if they don't work, but it looks like a good bit of kit to me. Bye from Temptress.